Hello my dears and lovelies, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about my most anticipated book releases of 2025. Can you guys believe it? We are in 2025. Excuse the door creaking in the back. My boyfriend is trying to get out of the shot. But I'm so excited for these book releases. I have 41 books that I'm very, very excited. I know it's such an odd number, but I'm very excited for these books to come out. I don't know if this will be separated into two-part. It might be because I don't know how long I'll spend talking about each one. But with that being said, let us dive right in. So first, we have Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life. I have been hearing about Emily Henry since I started watching BookTube, which has been a while, and I just finally need to dive in and get into her books and see what's so great about it. I love a good romance, I love a good contemporary fiction, and what I've heard Emily Henry's is just a combination of the two. So I'm very excited to get into it and see. My sister recommended her to me and she says she's really great, so I trust her recommendations and I'm really excited to get into it. So that's one. Book 2 needs no introduction, but I will give it nonetheless. The amazing, the wonderful Suzanne Collins is coming out with another Hunger Games novel called Sunrise on the Reaping, and it is the story of Haymitch and his Hunger Games, which Haymitch is one of my favorite characters in the Hunger Games, so I'm very excited to get his backstory and learn more of what made him him. And so I won't spend too long talking about this one because we all know and love Suzanne Collins. We all know and love what she's capable of, so I'm very excited to get into this one. Next, we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Now, I haven't read too much of V.E. Schwab. I read Gallant and really liked it, and I read the first book in her young adult series, City of Ghosts, I believe it's called. That one was really enjoyable, very YA, but still enjoyable. Hi, baby. So I'm very excited about this one. I need to get to more of her adult series because I've heard like A Darker Shade of Magic, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but the one where it's the two villains fighting each other, that one sounds really cool. But Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil is her newest release, and I figure what better time to get back into V.E. Schwab than when she comes out with a new book. So we're going to dive into it. Next, we have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't know what this cover is. This cover is the most heinous thing I've ever seen. I don't like it at all. But I did love Daisy Jones and the Six with my whole heart. That book stole my heart and I love it so much. So I'm very excited to get into what else Taylor Jenkins Reid has to offer. I've heard very mixed reviews on her other novels, so I figure a fresh start, her newest novel, would be the way to go. Next we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and as you may well know, I love, love, love Rachel Gillig's One Dark Window series. That series took me by storm, and I absolutely adored every second of it. The magic system, the romance, the monsters in it, it was all just so wonderful and gothic and beautiful and dark, and I loved every second of it. So to hear Rachel Gillig is coming out with another gothic fantasy-esque book, say no more, say no more. I'm here for it. Next we have Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. Now personally I have not read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I figure when the third one comes out I'll just binge read all three of them and it will be amazing. I haven't read a synopsis for the third one because I don't want any spoilers for what I have not read yet, but we are getting into all three this year. We're just going to binge them and it'll be fantastic. Next we have Ashley Poston, Sounds Like Love. I've heard, again, nothing but good things about Ashley Poston as well as Emily Henry. And again, I figure her new one might as well be a good time to just dive right in. And so this is going to be the year for finally getting into authors that everybody has been recommending to me for months. So we're gonna dive in this year and it's going to be amazing, guys. Next we have The Favorites by Lane... let me see how I pronounce this. Lane Fargo. I couldn't see as you can maybe see the colors of the letters kind of blend in with the cover of the book. Anyways. This is it looks like a figure skating novel of a love story between two figure skaters. And you guys don't know this, but when I was little, I was absolutely obsessed with figure skaters. I used to watch the Disney, I think it was a Disney Channel original movie maybe, but it was called Ice Princess. I watched that movie till the disc did not work anymore. Like, that's how much I watched that movie. Like, I watched it over and over and over and over and over and over again. I loved it. We also had the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games and Olympic Winter Games video games as kids, and the figure skating was obviously my favorite. I would play those levels over and over again. I love everything to do with figure skating. My dream is to go watch figure skating at some point, like a professional competition. I would absolutely adore that. But anyways, a novel about figure skating and love story, and I really don't need to know anymore. I am so excited to read this. Next, we have The Book Club for Troublesome Women by Marie Bostwick. And this seems like it's set in, what year is it set in? 1960s women. And the main character is living her best life, you know, the picture perfect American dream life for women that supposedly everybody wants. But then this new girl moves into town, and we're talking about maybe starting a book club, and maybe life is not all as it seems when this book club starts and we start reading more and getting our thoughts together. Maybe life is not all as it seems. And so I'm very, very excited to read this one. The next is The Palace of Illusions by Rowena Miller. This is, from what I can tell, a Nutcracker retelling. And again, figure skating, ballet are my two loves as a kid. And Barbie and the Nutcracker is to this day my favorite Christmas movie ever. You will not fight me on this. You will not, because I love it. And you should love it too, because it's amazing and perfect. But anytime there's a Nutcracker retelling, I am all here for it, because to this day, I want something similar to the feeling that Barbie and the Nutcracker gave me. And I experienced that when I got to see the ballet live for the first time. It was perfect. But I'm so excited that there's a novel about it, and I'm ready to see a new interpretation of it. I'm so excited. Next, we have The Library of Lost Dollhouses by Elise Hooper. And to be honest, I didn't really read much about the synopsis for what this is about. I just read the name, and it just sounds so cute, and I couldn't resist, so it's going on my list. Then we have American Housewife by Anita Abriel. And she's a television, the main character, Maggie Lane, is a television star in the 1950s, and she has to pretend that she's this picture-perfect American housewife when behind the scenes she's really not, and things kind of come to a head from there. And I'm really excited to read that. That sounds very cool to me. Then we have The Wildest Things by Andrea Hanna, and this is a dark Snow White retelling where she doesn't get woken up by a kiss. She gets woken up by her glass coffin being shattered, and the world is just in chaos, and she has to figure out what to do. Super excited to read this. The Gods That Time Forgot by Kelsey Sheridan Gonzalez. This is a historical fantasy romance from what I'm gathering. The main character has no memory of her life. She doesn't really know what's going on, but this wealthy family kind of adopts her, takes her in because they are convinced she's their lost daughter, so she just kind of goes with it and starts courting this guy named Finn. And they don't know much, but they both have this feeling that they've met each other before. And it sounds very interesting. I'm very, very curious to see what goes on from there, because it says it's perfect for fans of Outlander, and I love the TV show Outlander, so we are gonna say no more. Say no more. Next, we have The Crimson Road by A.G. Slater, or Slater. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. This one is like a gothic story from what I'm gathering. But the main character, Violet, she's an assassin. She's trained by her father to be an assassin. And then he wants to send her into the Darklands And she's like, absolutely not. But then there's 2 assassination attempts on her life. And she's like, okay, maybe I really do need to go to the Darklands and clean up your fucking mess. So I'm super excited to read this. This sounds very cool. So we love an all-powerful woman assassin. So we're gonna dive into this one. Next we have Soul Match by Rebecca Donson Baker. And this one is set in a futuristic World War III is over, the world is at peace, thanks to the soul identification system. And good souls leave the Institute with their inheritance and a career path, and if they're lucky, a soulmate. Bad souls leave in handcuffs. And so it's set on this one girl, Siobhan, who's about to go to get her soul go through the soul identification process and what happens from there. And this just sounds like such an interesting dystopian concept. I've never heard of a concept like this before. So I'm super excited to see what this has in store. This just sounds so cool, and the cover is absolutely stunning. The cover is what sold it for me, really. So I'm super excited to read this one. Next, we have The Morgan by Kim Curran, and this is an Irish, hold on. Yes, Ireland's mythic goddess of war. So it's a retelling of the goddess of war's story. And I love a good feminist retelling of mythology. So this just sounds so cool, and I'm so excited to read this one. We have Mistress of Bones, which is about a girl who's a necromancer trying to bring back to life her sister? Right? Yeah, her sister. And somebody's trying to stop her, and that just sounds so cool. We love some necromancy in this house. Next we have The Library at Hellbore. This one sounds so cool, you guys. I've never heard of this author before, but her name is Cassandra Kaw, and it's about the Hellbore Technical Institute for the Gifted, and it's the premier academy for the dangerously powerful, the Antichrist and the Ragnaroks, the World Eaters and the Apocalypse Makers. A school for the Antichrist and Ragnaroks? Are you kidding me? Who has come up with that before? I haven't heard of anything like that before, but it sounds fucking awesome and epic, and I'm so excited to read this. So we are going to dive into that this year. Next we have Breath of the Dragon. This one I have heard before. A couple of the booktubers I watch have gotten arcs of this so far, and it seems like it's going to be really amazing. It's by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. And it just seems like an epic fantasy of a young warrior in the Elite Guardian tournament, and we love a good fantasy tournament. So I'm all for that one. Next we have Firebird by Juliet Cross, and it's about a Roman centurion turns into his dragon form, which is forbidden from what I'm gathering. And he protects this dancer, and it's kind of like a forbidden love. Everybody's trying to stop them from being together type of story. And I love a good forbidden love story. So we're going to see what this one's about. The Manor of Dreams by Christina Lee. This one, hi baby. This one is about, so it's about the first Chinese actress to win an Oscar passes away. But she doesn't leave her inheritance to her daughters like they expect. That she leaves it to this other family. So both her daughters and this family move into the mansion to like kind of fight it out, like who's gonna really get the house. But once they get in, some spooky and haunting stuff starts happening. So this just sounds so cool. I love a good haunted house story, and this seems like Knives Out mixed with a haunted house story, because it's like they're fighting for the inheritance stuff, you know, and it just sounds really cool. So, and the cover, again, there's so many good covers this year, you guys. The cover just looks so intriguing. I'm so excited. Next we have I Am Made of Death by Kelly Andrew. And this one is about, excuse me, I'm so sorry. This kid named Thomas takes a job to be an interpreter for this girl who is a selective mute. She's cursed because the sound of her voice is now deadly as poison, and she's trying to break this curse. while he's kind of set as her interpreter slash guardian. And she's like trying to get away from him so she can break the curse. And he's like not gonna lose his job, so he's following her everywhere she goes to make sure she doesn't get into any trouble. And it just sounds really intriguing, really cute love story. But yeah, the sound of her voice is deadly as poison. Say no more. Say no more. Next we have Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. This one's similar vibes to Christina Lee's book. This one is a CEO passes away, and it's who's gonna get the inheritance out of 3 siblings who are not doing so great. So I love the family intrigue. That one sounds really good. We have The Scorpion and the Night Blossom, which is another, this one's by, if it load, Emile Wen Zhao. And this one is about, yeah, another deadly competition, and it's the chance to save her mother's soul. So this just sounds so beautiful, and I'm so excited to read this one. It says, yeah, and it's a world at war with demons. So, fuck yeah, that just sounds so epic and cool. Next we have Tenderly I Am Devoured. And again, these covers are just so stunning. By Lyndall Clipstone. And this one is a gothic, seems like a gothic horror story, romantic thing. This one is a little bit confusing on the synopsis, but it seems really cool. Yeah, it's like a trio delving into the folklore of gods, and I don't know much else about it, but it sounds pretty cool. So next we have The Rose Bargain. And again, these covers, I don't know who's designing the covers this year, but they are not missing. It's so beautiful. I love the pinks and the greens and the rings. It's just so stunning. But this one is in London in 1848, and the Fey Queen grants one opportunity to grant someone's deepest desire. And Ivy Benton prepares to make her debut into society, and she seems to be the runner-up, or one of the main runners to get this wish, to her big surprise. So we'll see what happens, and it seems very exciting. Next, we have The Hymn to Dionysus. I never know how to say these Greek names. I'm so sorry if I butcher this. Dionysus. The Hymn to Dionysus by Natasha Pulley. And this one is a queer retelling of, and it says it's Phaedros, a Greek soldier, and a blue-eyed witch named Dionysus. So, falling in love. And yeah, it sounds so cute. It's probably going to be heartbreaking, honestly, but I'm very excited to read it. Then we have Kennedy Ryan's Can't Get Enough. Again, this one, I have not read the first 2 books in her series, but I figured the 3rd one's coming out. It's a good time to just binge all 3. And I've heard nothing but good things about Kennedy Ryan's romance work, so I'm very excited to get into those as well. Next we have Exquisite Ruin, and this one I'm so pumped to read. It's a labyrinth fantasy telling, and personally, I have not read any fantasy tellings that takes place in a labyrinth, so I'm so pumped to read this. I need to know nothing more besides that, and I'm sad. I am absolutely sad. And this one's by Adrienne May. Then we have The Other March Sisters. This one has 3 authors. It's by Linda Epstein, Ali Malenko, and Liz Parker. And it's like telling the March sister stories from their point of views instead of just Joe's point of view, from what I'm gathering. And I love Little Women. You guys know I love Little Women. That's easily one of my top books ever. So I'm very excited to read a new adaptation of Little Women. Then we have The Starving Saints, which this one sounds interesting. It's essentially, it seems very intriguing and different. But essentially, this castle has been under siege, So everybody's starving, but then all of a sudden these benevolent goddesses come in and provide all this food, provide clothing, provide everything they could possibly need, but something isn't quite right about these goddesses and we're not sure what. So it follows 3 different women who are trying to figure out what's going on inside this castle from what I'm gathering. So it sounds very different, nothing I've ever heard of before, but I'm very intrigued to see what's going to go down on this one. And this one, I don't know if I said the author, but it's by Caitlin Starling. Next we have The Coven Tendency by Zoe Hanamakuta. And this one is a witchy gothic horror story, and I need to know nothing more than it's a witchy gothic horror story. But essentially, the witches are forbidden to use their magic until they reach a certain age. And once they reach a certain age, they're either in the museum where they're put on for performance shows, or they're sent to the sanatorium where they're basically put into a coma and never allowed to wake again. So things are not great for these witches in this world, and it follows 2 sisters who kind of maybe start to break the rules a little bit. So I'm very excited to read this one. Next we have Our Infinite Fates. This one is by Laura Stephen, and this one, oh yeah, this was the one where she can the main character can remember all her past lives, and every past life has ended before she's turned 18. She's been killed before she's turned 18. But this one, she has, but this life that she's in now, she has a little sister to take care of. So she can't die before she turns 18. So she has to figure out a way to stop it. And it just sounds very Invisible Life of Addie LaRue-esque, and I'm very excited to read this one. Next we have When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa Vita Kelly. This one is a queer romance between a blacksmith and a merman. And oh, it just sounds so cute. Basically, the blacksmith is hired to make a cage for the merman, but as he's building this cage, he maybe starts to fall in love with the merman and maybe discovers that maybe he's not supposed to be in a cage. And oh, it just sounds so good! We're almost done, you guys. We're almost done. We got 3 more. 3 more. I promise we're almost done. Next is The River Has Roots by Amal El Motar. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these names. But this one is, it says, in the small town of Thistleford on the edge of Fairy dwells the mysterious Hawthorne family. There they tend and harvest the enchanted willows and honor an ancient compact to sing to them in thanks for their magic. None more devotedly than the family's latest daughters, Esther and Isabel, who cherish each other as much as they cherish the ancient trees. But when Esther rejects a forceful suitor in favor of a lover from the land of Fairy, not only the sisters bond, but also their lives will be at risk. So this sounds very cool, and it's got a bunch of raving reviews, so I'm super excited to read this one. 2 more. We have Immortal by Sue Lynn Han. I've heard this author is really, really good, and this one is about an heir to a crown. She inherits a very precarious throne when her grandfather dies, and she has to make an alliance with the god of war to kind of figure things out. And it just sounds very like forbidden magic, forbidden love maybe, and I'm super excited to read this one. And the last one on this list is called What Wakes the Bells by Elle Teska. And this one is about the bell keeper. Her only job is to watch to make sure the bells don't ring, because if the bells ring, then a darkness no one has ever known will cover this town and take over this town. Wouldn't you know it, the bell rings 13 times and things start coming to life and attacking people. And Mina, yeah, her name's Mina's got to figure out what's going on and save the town. So that is the 41 books. I think I counted that right. Let me know if I didn't. But the books that I would like to read this year that are coming out this year sounds like one for the books, literally. I'm so sorry. But I'm so excited to read these. They sound amazing. And I hope I get to all of them before the year is out. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what releases are you excited to read this year, and we will talk soon. Bye. Hello my lovelies, please don't go yet. I just remembered while I was editing that I totally forgot to give you my top 2 books that I'm most excited for that are releasing this year. So I wanted to tell you real quick while I was editing my top 2 books for this year that are releasing this year that I will be in the bookstore the day they come out. I will be buying these. Are Wings of Starlight by Allison South, which if you don't know, I am absolutely obsessed with Tinkerbell, and I cannot believe that they're actually writing a novel about Queen Clarion and her love. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. So that's my first one. And then my second one that I'm most excited to read is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber, which is a dark academia adult novel that Stephanie Garber is trying her take on. And I love anything Stephanie Garber writes, as you all well know. So I'm so excited for those two. So those are my top two that I'm most excited that are releasing this year. Sorry I forgot to put them in the first clip, but now you know, now we all know that you are holding me accountable that I will be there on the day these books are released. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.